Have you ever felt unappreciated because you couldn't fool your coworker or even your dog because you used ketchup to pass for blood for that fake injury prank? Has a damaged ego kept you from trying special effects in your projects? Well, no longer. Here's your chance to make some blood that will be convincing enough to get your point across. Join us in today's episode of How Do I, the show where you can learn something new each time. And now with your host, Steven Wasserman.
Hello and welcome to this edition of How Do I, the show where you can learn something new each time. Today's episode will be focusing on how to make one of the fundamental elements of practical special effects for your short films, blood. There are many recipes out there with different kinds of consistencies and hues in mind. Some recipes emphasize the thickness of the blood to resemble a more grotesque, fleshy gore, while others aim for a relatively thin form to be used for bloodstains and minor injuries. Today we're going to stick to the basics and go over making a mixture with a rich darkness and medium thickness, perfect for simulating a severe yet treatable open gash, or for bloodstains for shooting those scenes that show an assailed or injured. Here's what you will need.
Making artificial blood is very easy, and it is possible to do it with items found around the house or in just about any grocery store. For this, you will need corn syrup, chocolate syrup, water, red food coloring, green food coloring, cornstarch, some sort of container to mix this in, and of course a spoon and a towel. Use something to protect your furniture or working area. In this case, we use newspaper. Gloves are optional, but they're highly recommended.
Now that we're prepared to mix our ingredients, let's get down to it. You'll be surprised how easy it is to make prop blood and how simple it is to modify the thickness and shade of the blood. So let's start the process.
This would be a good time to notify our viewers that while this recipe is non-toxic and even edible, it can be very sticky and stains horribly. Not recommended for use with valuable articles of clothing. Begin by adding 3 parts corn syrup and 1 part water. Today we'll be making approximately 8 fluid ounces of blood. Next, add your red food coloring. You'll want to add half a teaspoon, or approximately 50 drops if your coloring comes in a dropper type container. This will give it a proper shade of red as the base color. Because blood from your veins is a rich dark maroon as opposed to blood from your arteries, which is a more vibrant red, add green food coloring. Add just a small dash, or about 9 drops if you're using a dropper type container. This will further the darkness of the mixture. Stir thoroughly until the water and corn syrup feel sufficiently mixed. Then add 2 teaspoons of chocolate syrup. This will add to the thickness of the blood and also darken it just a bit. Next, add 4 teaspoons of cornstarch. The cornstarch will add more density when needed and will give the blood a more opaque look, since real blood is not transparent. You'll notice that there's a buildup of starch on the surface. You'll have to scoop these and toss them away. Once your mixture is free of any lumps, you're ready to check the color of the blood. You can periodically check the color of your mixture by staining a white towel with it. You can check the density of the mixture with your bare hands. Now you have your artificial blood, and your bloody scenes can pack a more convincing effect on your viewers.
So that's how fake blood is made. Keep in mind that this recipe is entirely edible and non-toxic, but it stains clothes and requires soap and water to wash off skin. Even licking your fingers will leave a sticky residue. Today we learned how to make one of the building blocks of practical special effects. We hope that you will apply what you've learned, and we encourage you to experiment and tinker with your own recipes for different blood densities and shades. Thank you for joining us in today's episode of How Do I. We hope you tune in next time. But before we leave, here's a very concise recap of the process we just learned.